All right, welcome back to Orange Bites. I'm adding an S to the name because I feel like Orange Bites sounds better than Orange Bite. Let me know in the comments what do you think. But let's get straight into the news. It would help if I pulled it up. As always, or as yesterday and as today, shout out to Clarky's Rugby League column for providing us with our news. I will say as well, this won't be in the news dump, but Vegas tickets went on sale today. So I feel like, as I said, that's not going to be in this news dump, but I feel like that's news. So check that out. Also, not in this news jump, and probably the biggest news of the day. News jump. And probably the biggest news of the day is Tom Trbojevic might be leaving Manly. Now, Manly have opened talks with Jake and Tom about extending their contracts, and Tom has essentially said he doesn't want to play against Manly, so if they can't afford to keep him, he'd rather go to the Super League than play for another NRL team. So there is a genuine chance that Tom Trbojevic ends up in the Super League. It's not just media trying to get headlines and clickbait. It's legitimately Tom Trbojevic might go to the Super League because he's such a good bloke. He doesn't want to play against Manly and turn his back on the club. So that's kind of crazy. Now, I'd assume he will extend with Manly, you'd think. But if he ends up in the Super League, he's going to win like every man of steel. So that's probably the biggest news of the day. The fact like Turbo might leave Manly. As I said, I don't think he will, but who knows? He said he'd rather play in the Super League than play against Manly. So keep your eyes on that. Corey Horsburgh. The Maroons are considering dropping Beau Fermor or Trent Liero to bring in Corey Horsburgh. This is a no-brainer for me. I think Corey Horsburgh has to be in that Queensland side. He probably should have been there for game one. He's just the kind of player they need just to cycle off the bench. He's in great form this year. Raiders are doing very well. I would probably drop... I don't know. I don't know which of those two players I'd rather drop. I feel like... Honestly, this is what I'd do. This might be a hot take. I'd drop both of those players and I'd bring in Corey Horsburgh and I'd also bring in Jai Arrow. I think Jai Arrow should be in Origin. I was like shocked when Jai Arrow wasn't picked, and then I was like, wait, is he like injured or did he retire from Origin? And then he wasn't picked. I think Jai Arrow should be in Origin and Corey Horsburgh as well, 100%. So I'd be dropping Fermor and Liero and I'd be putting in Horsburgh and Jai Arrow. I think that's a no-brainer. Obviously, lots of Lockie Gavin used in this dump, but we went over all of it yesterday. The only extension on the Lockie Gavin news, I guess, is that he was named in the extended squad for the Bulldogs. He was named in the 22 jersey, but we'll come back and do a little bit of team list stuff shortly. AJ Brimson, the Titans have reportedly applied for an exemption to have his 11-day head knock stand down, exempt. So if that gets approved, he'll play this week against the Broncos. Once again, we'll come back and look at the team list at the back end of this video of this podcast, and we'll find out, was he named? Because I actually don't know if he was named or not. And just on Tom Trbojevic as well, he's rested this week. Keon Kaloa Matangi admits his main focus is on the Rabbitohs despite a New South Wales spot being opened up. Not really news there. I feel like it was a pretty slow news day outside of team list where obviously Keon, that's what all the footy players say. That's what everyone says, that Origin's at the back of their mind, but they want to play. And he said if he gets the call, he gets the call. It's his goal to be there. I think Keon, I'd be picking him in Origin. Obviously, Terra May's another guy you could pick. I feel like we went over yesterday. Stefano Uto Ikamanu as well. As I said yesterday, Keon is the guy I'd be picking. Big news. This is actually possibly the news of the day. Sam Walker has been named to return from his ACL injury this week. Roosters have the bye, but Sam Walker is going to be playing in New South Wales Cup because they want a bit of match fitness. So that's huge. Sam Walker returning from his ACL injury. A huge boost for the Roosters. I think they can make the 8. There, I said it. I think the Roosters can make the 8. I think especially with Sam Walker returning. Huge in. He's such a good player. I think a lot of people start tossing him up for Origin. I don't think he's going to come in and replace Daly Cherry Evans in Origin, but just good to see Sam Walker back. That's a huge boost for the Roosters, and hopefully he goes well this week. What else do we have? The Broncos have reportedly signed Grant Anderson for 2026, so that's like news, I guess. Grant Anderson, not a household name, but it is weird, like, picturing him outside of the Storm system. I feel like he's been there for a while, but just a decent signing. He always does his job. Braithen Astor believes Gus Gould should be more transparent in how he conducts business for the Bulldogs. Now, I'm a Bulldogs fan, so obviously there's going to be a bit of bias from me here, but I feel like Gus shouldn't be transparent. This is coming from Braithen Astor, who he manages so many different players, and I wouldn't say he's very transparent when it comes to that stuff. So I don't think it's Gus Gould's job as the Bulldogs administrator to be transparent. Obviously, he's in the media. I get that, but they're two separate jobs, and just because he's in the media doesn't mean he should be transparent. All the other administrators are allowed to be in the media if they want to. Gus chooses to be. It's not like he has to be, but at the same time, none of the other administrators have to be or don't have to be. They can choose to be if they want as well. So it's not like it's an unfair playing field because he's in the media. It's like everyone else can be if they want. They can all, and even if it's like you can argue, not everyone's going to be signed to Channel 9 with social media and stuff. There's nothing stopping other administrators getting on Twitter and tweeting as much as Gus Gould does. I just think he's an easy target and he's an easy headline, and that's why people come after him. Also, Gus, unblock me on Twitter. Thanks. It's reported Cleese Haas has a clause in his contract that makes him a free agent in November. Cool. I don't think too many people are going to be chasing Cleese Haas. I think that his name will be used for clickbait a lot later in the season when everyone's like Haas is off contract. But yeah, it says the only thing Payne has ever asked of me is that he'd love to play with his brother, said their manager. So we could. I said it yesterday that I think Payne Haas will be in Perth. Maybe Cleese will join him in Perth. Who knows? Buzz Rothfield insists that Payne Haas is a genuine chance of leaving the Broncos. We sort of went over Payne Haas yesterday. I think he'll play out his contract and end up in Perth. I don't think he'll leave the Broncos immediately. There's reports that Kotoni Staggs has re-signed with the... No, sorry. Reports Kotoni Staggs has re-signed with the Broncos are premature. It's understood that they've verbally agreed, but nothing's been signed. But once again, this is just a slow news day. It sounds like, okay, he's signing. He said he's going to sign, but it just hasn't been official. But there's not much there. Adam Reynolds has slammed the media for the reporting around the Broncos. Not really much there. And apparently the Broncos have offered him a 1-year extension, which is definitely something to watch because I feel like he'd stay on a 1-year extension. I don't think money's going to be a huge issue for him either, so I'd expect him to stay. I will just quickly pull up some team list stuff, and then that'll be the episode. But I'd assume Adam Reynolds stays at the Broncos if they've offered him 1 year. I don't see why he'd turn down a year and go join Tigers have been mentioned. I think if they've offered him a year, he'll be staying at the Broncos. Team list news. As I said, Galvin's on the extended bench. Burden and Sexton are in the halves, and Bailey Hayward's 14. I'd expect Galvin comes into the side on Monday. I think Serrato wants to see a bit more from him at training. He's only been at 2 training sessions. The Dogs don't play till Monday, which is essentially a week. It's 6 days away. So plenty of time to see Galvin at training a bit more and get a good judgment of where he is. Is he coming into the systems? What position should he be playing? All that stuff. But I would think he will debut probably off the bench, but we'll see what happens. Walker and Wyden both return, which is a huge boost for South Sydney. I think South can make the 8. I think this week will be a good showing of where they are. But with Walker and Wyden back, Jai Gray's dropped out now. I think now that they're back to near full strength, obviously Cam Murray's still out and stuff, but yeah, I think it's exciting times for the Rabbitohs. I think they could do a bit. Reece Walsh is returning as well. It's his first game since round 7, so that's a big boost for the Broncos. Obviously, he was a bit out of form as well. He'll be playing for an Origin spot, because I don't think Kalen Ponga's spot is all that safe in the Queensland jersey. It was Reece Walsh's until he got injured, essentially, because he was the fullback last year. So that'll be interesting, but hopefully he can just get back playing good footy for the Broncos' sake. Latu Fainu's back. Fainu's named on the bench, though. Skeldon's also back on the wing. I thought Fainu would have gone straight into the halves with Luai, but I guess not. I assume... Does that mean Heath Mason's still in the halves? Let me check that, because... nothing against Heath Mason. I love the story and stuff, but I would have Fainu in the halves over Heath Mason, especially against the Panthers. Yeah, Heath Mason at 6. He did have a pretty decent game on the weekend, so no hate to him, but yeah, I don't know. That's a bit of a weird one. Turbo, as we said, still out. Jake Trbojevic is back, though, which is a huge boost for Manly. A much-needed boost. Carrigan's named at lock with Jensen and Haas starting in the front row, so that's interesting. Bit of a reshuffle there with Carrigan at lock. Kalen Ponga obviously coming back into the night side after his break from Origin, with Sharp and Cogger in the halves. Yeah, no surprises there. Interesting, this one. So Sione, this is interesting for my own Supercoach. Sione Katoa has returned. He's been out all year with a shoulder injury, so this is his first game back. I have Hiroti in Supercoach, but I thought he was playing. So how long's Ronaldo out injured for? Because now I'm kind of worried about my Supercoach team because I brought Hiroti in thinking that Katoa was out for a little bit longer. Ronaldo. Wait, this is live Winston Neville Supercoach panic. Ronaldo Mulatalo. Or is he suspended? Why is Ronaldo out? Oh, he's just suspended for one game, so that's really bad for my Supercoach team. I'm going to have to trade Hiroti, and I literally just traded him in 2 weeks ago. I probably should have done a bit more research there. The lesson here is do more research because I thought Katoa was out longer, but it is what it is. Fogarty is back. We talked about this yesterday, that Fogarty will probably return. He's returning, so that's good, I guess. And I don't know why this is not tied into the other Bulldogs news, but Jacob Kiraz is back, which is a huge in. He teased on the Byron that he'd be back, and he's been named. So I'm very, very excited because sorry, I'm just reading this and the wording of it didn't make sense. Kiraz was meant to be out for like another 2 weeks, so it's a huge in, a massive in. Kiraz is so good, man, such a good in. I think like I was really mentally prepared for Jacob Kiraz to be out for at least another 2 weeks. So I'm just relieved that he's back. Much, much needed in. He does so much for us. Harry Grant and Coates back in after not backing up for Origin for the Storm. So they'll be very appreciated in the Storm camp. And then Will Penasini is back after missing last week with concussion. Sam Veras and Jojo Fafita are out. They both broke their hands, which is crazy. They both broke their hands. And Brimson, who we just spoke about earlier, he's named 18th man. So that's big. I guess they'll just wait to see if they get approval of that or not. Sure, it's a bit random to try and get approval just for like a round 14 game, isn't it? I thought the rule was going to be it's only for like big games that you can get approval or something, but who knows, honestly, with the concussion protocols. Jaden Sewer's out, which means Leigh Lewis starts, and Tyrell Sloan got dropped, which is, like, it's not that crazy, but it's news. And that's all the team list, all the notable team list changes I have here in front of me. And so that concludes today's Orange Bites. It is Tuesday, the 3rd of June. You'll be listening to this on Wednesday, the 4th of June, if you're listening to it when it drops. Thank you for listening. Let me know, is this a good concept? Do I keep doing it or do I give up? And yeah, up the Dogs.